Now, 1 year ago, Tanzanian billionaire Mohammed Dewji was kidnapped outside a hotel gym in the country's main city, Dar es Salaam. He was kept captive for 9 days in an ordeal that prompted a huge manhunt. He was eventually released. Mr. Dewji spoke to me for the first time in detail about his experience and his motivation for philanthropy.
It was just very random, you know. I got picked up at 5 o'clock, 5:20 at the gym. Just unknown people. I mean, they definitely were not Tanzanians. There was some South Africans and some Mozambicans. They just kidnapped me for 9 days. They blindfolded me. They tied my hands and my legs, and they kept on threatening me with guns on my head, and it was a very, very crazy ordeal. But I have to say that I've come out very strong from it. One, I'm very thankful to people that prayed for me.
Let's talk a bit about that ordeal, because
yes.
You mentioned South Africans, Mozambicans.
Yes.
So did you actually know who they were?
So actually what happened, there was an investigation by the police, and one driver who was a Tanzanian has been prosecuted, is behind bars, and he had mentioned that there were some South Africans and some Mozambicans that kind of pretty much crossed the border and ran away. And now they're under the Interpol watch. So basically, that's how I know.
What do they want? I mean, obviously, when you're in that room, I suppose,
yes,
they're asking you and threatening you, and there's something they're demanding. What do they want?
They wanted money. They wanted money, and in the end, it was very interesting. They left me without me paying $1.
So you didn't negotiate, you didn't meet any demands
They were, the first time they told me they needed money. The second call, they said, okay, you know, I told them, look, I'm incapacitated. You know, my eyes are closed, my legs are tied. Why don't you get hold of my family member? And then, you know, so obviously nobody from my family I knew while I was kidnapped that was in touch with them, because obviously they would want to know I'm still alive.
How did you cope those 9 days? What kept you going?
It was faith. I was just praying. I mean, I was actually praying a lot. Being a Muslim, I was repenting. I was asking for forgiveness. I was trying to block thinking about my kids, because that would make me cry. It was a very, very difficult situation at times when they were threatening me with putting the gun in my head, and I would say, you know, and I will kill you, and I'm like, you know, you can kill me, because, you know, it gets to a point where you snap, you know, your legs are tied, your hands are tied.
So did they feed you?
They fed me. During the day, my hands were tied like this, and I would have to eat like that, and during the night your hands are tied here. It's such a simple thing. Imagine you want to itch here, how would you itch? You know, it's the small things in life that you start appreciating, you know. So in general, it was a very difficult ordeal, but I've come out very strong, and it's all people's prayers and the faith in God.
When do you feel most at peace?
I think, you know, now, I think before the ordeal that I felt that I wasn't very content, and I was running this rat race of, you know, making more and more money, etc., etc. And now what has life done to me is made me pause and realize all the other important things. Yes, being around my children gives me a lot of contentment.
Well, you're a billionaire,
yes, yes.
And one of the biggest #1 points for them is you put money yes. where you know you get some back.
Right.
What is that thing that makes you just give away without?
You know, I'll tell you something, my dear. Life is very, very short, and you know, we are not going to take anything away with us. And the last thing you want to do is just leave all these billions and billions for your children. I think it is our responsibility. I believe, I'm a very religious person, and I believe that some of us that have been blessed with wealth are ambassadors, and that we need to give this money and redistribute this money. But mind you, redistributing it with having the maximum impact. So you look at it from an entrepreneur's point of view. It's you bank for a buck. For every $1 that I spend, what is the return I'm getting in terms of how many lives I'm touching?
South Africa's youngest billionaire and Tanzanian billionaire Mohammed Dewji there. Let's now take a quick look at other stories making headlines across Africa and the rest of the world.